Get ready to witness 10 epic showdowns between Karens and judges in the courtroom. These entitled individuals think they can control and manipulate any situation, even in front of the force of justice. Sit tight and enjoy. In our first video, we hear the judge asking a woman to lower her voice.
The dialogue with
I'm
you,
not
Ms.
asking
DeWitt.
you to get in the dialogue.
Please,
I'm asking
ladies.
you to quit.
Jan Schaefer, the city's Public Works Commission chairwoman, is right behind her. Suddenly, chaos erupts as Vera hits Jan in the back of the head, sending her rolling over the floor.
Stop that woman from leaving the room.
This woman found herself facing a sentence of 3 to 15 years after her reckless actions behind the wheel led to a fatal crash. The judge didn't hesitate to deliver the hammer of the law upon her, but when the victim's family poured out their anguish, the convicted woman's mother dared to mock their pain with laughter. Little did she know the judge doesn't tolerate disrespect in her courtroom. With the swift flick of her gavel, she sentenced the disruptive mother to 93 days in the slammer for contempt, a dose of reality that served as a much-needed reality check. Even a night in jail didn't knock any sense into the unapologetic mother. But facing the judge again the next morning, she suddenly discovered her remorse. With a carefully crafted apology dripping with regret, she managed to secure her ticket back home.
I was under a lot of stress, and I deeply apologize for what I did in your court.
A surprising turn of events in a courtroom where justice reigns supreme. In the end, justice wasn't just served for the tragedy's victims, it was a victory for the integrity of the legal system. When it comes to disrespecting the law, the judge proves that actions have consequences, handing out justice with a side of humility. Right, on to the next one. This young woman's behavior left everyone questioning her sanity, sobriety, or sheer entitlement. Throughout her hearing, she giggled and grinned, seemingly oblivious to the gravity of her situation. As proceedings concluded, she flippantly bid adios to the judge.
Bye-bye.
Adios.
Big mistake. The judge wasn't about to let her disrespect slide. He promptly called her back and slapped her with a hefty fine of $10,000, doubling her original penalty. But the drama didn't end there. Infuriated by the judge's decision, the woman spun around, swore, and flipped him off. Unimpressed by her antics, the judge swiftly sentenced her to 30 days behind bars for her blatant disrespect. As if her behavior wasn't audacious enough, when questioned about her assets, she frivolously boasted about her extensive jewelry collection, prompting the judge to remind her that court wasn't a nightclub.
It's not a joke, you know, we're not in a club now.
Despite his stern warnings, she continued to treat the proceedings like a joke, much to the judge's exasperation. The judge's no-nonsense approach left no room for foolishness, but even as the drama unfolded, the woman's defiance persisted. Brace yourself for the next one. In the courtroom showdown of Karen Stevens versus her former attorney Paul Nicoletti, tensions soared to new heights. Karen marched in, adamant to contest a personal protection order she claimed Nicoletti had filed against her. But here's the kicker, the PPO hadn't even been issued yet. Talk about jumping the gun. As Karen fired off accusations left and right, the judge, with the patience of a saint, tried to rein her in. But this Karen, fueled by her righteous fury, refused to be silenced. She demanded sanctions against Nicoletti, oblivious to the fact that she hadn't even been served the PPO papers. The judge's confusion and anger was palpable as she shut down Karen's antics, slapping her with a hefty $500 fine for wasting the court's time.
Your relief is denied, and in addition to that, I am sanctioning you with costs of $500.
But Karen's courtroom drama didn't end there. She found herself back in front of the judge, this time clashing over court fees. Despite her protests and attempts to wriggle out of paying, the judge stood firm, ordering her to cough up the cash then and there. In the end, Karen learned the hard way that karma doesn't play favorites in the courtroom. With a hefty fine and a dose of reality, perhaps she'll think twice before stirring up trouble in the halls of justice again. Let's hope she learned her lesson. Can't say that for this next Karen, though. Ohio Magistrate Michael Bachman flexed his authority to the max. While presiding over a trial, he heard a disturbance echoing from the hallway. Cassandra Jackson allegedly screaming at the top of her lungs for being 30 minutes late to file court papers. Without hesitation, the judge morphed into a relentless pursuer, storming out of his courtroom to chase down the offender. Like a seasoned detective, he pursued Jackson through the corridors until he finally caught up with her. With the law on his side, he steered her back to his courtroom, where he wasted no time in delivering his verdict, Seated in the jury box, Jackson was swiftly sentenced to 3 days in jail for her disrespectful and disruptive behavior. But justice, it seems, had a twist in store. This Karen of a judge found himself forced to resign in the aftermath of his over-the-top actions. Meanwhile, Cassandra was released after just 2 days behind bars, a testament to the power of resilience in the face of judicial overreach. Moving on, when this Kevin strutted into the courtroom, he probably thought he could outsmart the judge. But boy, was he in for a rude awakening. With no lawyer to back him up, Kevin tried to play the legal hero, a move that backfired faster than he could say, objection. As the judge probed him about posting bond, Kevin's cocky demeanor only fueled the fire. With each snarky remark, he dug his own grave deeper and deeper. The judge wasn't having any of it.
You want to talk about me at bond with me? What do you want to tell me?
I don't really give a fuck, let's be honest with you.
In a swift and decisive move, he sentenced Kevin to 30 days in the county jail for his audacity. But even as the reality of his situation sank in, Kevin remained stubborn, refusing to bend to the court's authority. The judge's warnings were brushed aside as Kevin continued to push his luck. As the judge handed down his final warning, Kevin's defiance cost him dearly. With each passing second of resistance, the consequences mounted. In the end, Kevin learned the hard way that in the courtroom, arrogance doesn't pay. It just adds more time to your sentence. Good thing he was finally put in his place. This next clip is a stark wake-up call that a Kevin isn't just a spectator in the courtroom drama. It's a lesson in what not to do if you happen to cross paths with one. Watch this guy, with all the audacity of a self-proclaimed legal expert, tries to flex his authority over the judge. But guess what? The judge isn't having any of it. With a quick slap down, the judge reminds him that in this courtroom it's the law that wins, not inflated ego. When Karen tries to school a legally trained representative, it's like watching a comedy, except nobody's laughing. With confidence oozing from her, she confidently declares the poll book off by a whopping over 100,000 votes.
I'd say that poll book is off by over 100,000.
But when pressed for evidence, she stumbles and fumbles, unable to back up her wild claims. As the showdown unfolds, Karen's grip on reality seems to slip further into stupidity. Dead people voting, illegals swarming the polls, her theories know no bounds. Seriously though, how much stupider can you get? When this judge reaches his breaking point with Kevin's theatrics, they're not about to let him run the show any longer. He has had enough of being disrespected and interrupted. Our last Karen, the proud owner of a diner, thought she could defy COVID rules and food regulations like they were mere suggestions. But oh, how wrong she was. Dragged before the court for her flagrant disregard of the law, the judge didn't mince words. She reminded her that this wasn't just any place where she could have it her way. No, this was her courtroom, and here truth was the only currency that mattered.
Ma'am, stop. I know you want to control this room, but this isn't Burger King. When the sign changes to Burger King, you can have it your way. Right now, this is my courtroom.
Watch how she reacts with the attitude. This was good enough to boil the judge's blood. Despite the judge's warnings, Karen remained defiant, refusing to acknowledge the gravity of her actions. The judge wasn't having any of it. With a flick of her gavel, she slammed her with a whopping $7,500 fine and sentenced her to 93 days in jail for her contemptuous behavior. That's right, folks. In this courtroom, justice isn't just impartial. It's downright ruthless to those who dare to disrespect it. That concludes today's video. We hope you have a good time watching. Let us know in the comments below your favorite one from the mix. Consider subscribing to the channel for more. Thanks for watching. Until next time.